Ryan Reynolds' character, Michael Bryce, enters the movie as he arrives for the AAA Bodyguard Awards. Something he has been anticipating for a while. He discovers none other than Darius Kincaid, laughing at him as he gets his medal. When Bryce sees his unfortunate client Kurosawa speaking to him before Darius once more blows his brains out and move on to Bryce, he knows that he is in a nightmare. Bryce is still depressed about no longer being a bodyguard as he discusses his recurring nightmare in therapy. Rebecca Front, the therapist, tries to persuade him that he doesn't have to be a bodyguard to feel content and advises him to take a break. Bryce agrees grudgingly. The leader of the EU declares that additional sanctions will be placed on Greece at a meeting of the European Union. In Athens, where riots are already in progress, the man is taken captive after the man's bodyguard are killed. Criminal Lord Aristotle Papadopoulos confronts him. As soon as the sanctions take effect, Aristotle declares his intention to bring all of Europe to an end and orders his soldiers to suffocate the EU leader with a plastic bag. In an effort to take the break seriously, Bryce is visiting a resort. As gunmen raid the resort, Sonia Kincaid swiftly ruins this by yanking Bryce away. As she informed Bryce that Kincaid has been abducted by the mob and that he expressly asks for Bryce's assistance, Sonia shoots some of them to death before ultimately making their getaway. They kill more bad men as they flee on a motorcycle. Magnuson and Veronica, Aristotle's henchmen, meet with arms merchants in Croatia and shows them a device that Aristotle has been eyeing. After triggering it, the local power grid is destroyed, resulting in mayhem throughout the city and numerous casualties. Magnuson and Veronica are instructed by Aristotle to murder the dealers and grab the weapon after he is impressed by the weapon. An Interpol squad locates the weapon dealers the following day. When Crowley meets American agent Bobby O'Neill, O'Neill alerts that there's one of a victim in well-known arms dealer. Crowley gives O'Neill the task of recovering the murder's stolen weapon so that he can make his long-desired trip back to Boston. She also has him work with Oslo, her translator, whom he makes fun of for her name and Scottish accent. The criminals who kidnapped Kincaid are located by Bryce and Sonia. Bryce tries to be straightforward, but Sonia appears and murders a few of the thugs. Kincaid is old before mob leader Carlo in the meantime, who holds the Hitman accountable for the death of his men. After killing more of Carlo's goons, Sonia quickly enters the scene with gun blazing, giving Kincaid the chance to escape and murder the remaining man, including Carlo. Kincaid is thrilled to see Sonia, but he is not so happy to see Bryce because he reportedly urged Sonia to seek assistance from anybody else but Bryce. Likewise, the former bodyguard is not in the least bit pleased to see Kincaid. When Kincaid and Sonia seem to be getting ready to leave Bryce behind, they are both brought into custody and Bryce is tased before being hauled in as well. The three are taken before O'Neill, who chastises them for killing Carlo because he was an informant who could have helped O'Neill find the mastermind behind the cyber attacks. O'Neill is aware of who all three are known and who they are. By having Sonia pretend as Carlo's mistress and Bryce serve as the bodyguard, O'Neill coerces the group into cooperating with him and approaching the objectives. Before they embark on the assignment, Sonia develops a suspicion of Kincaid because it was initially taken because he left for an alert work while they were on their honeymoon. Sonia tries to run Kincaid over with their car, but instead she hits Bryce and throws him into the air. Subsequently, as a surprise, Kincaid gives Sonia tickets to see Carmen at the opera. With the money O'Neill gave them, intended for emergencies, they subsequently spend a beautiful afternoon together. They confine Bryce to the truck till he regains consciousness for this entire time, until he informs him that Kincaid and Sonia are attempting to establish a family. He begins to rage at them. Bryce makes up the statement that she'd be a wonderful mother. The group heads to the assignment, and while Kincaid is outside performing sniper duties, Bryce and Sonia meet their target, a man named Vlad, in a bar. Vlad hands Sonia a briefcase with an explosive bracelet inside that she is to bring to Aristotle. When Seifert, a precious customer of Bryce, arrives high off his ass and mentions Bryce's name, their ruse is shattered. Bryce is ridiculed by Vlad and his men for once serving as a bodyguard, and Vlad makes the fatal error of referring to Sonia as being old. Sonia loses control.
What the fuck did you just say?
And Kincaid and her killed Vlad's men at the club while trying to hold the briefcase close to prevent Sonia from exploding. One gunman is left after she kills Vlad, and Bryce pulls Sonia aside while absorbing the back shot. Bryce and Sonia flee on a boat after Sonia kills the shooter. Agents are found by O'Neill and Oslo close to a crime scene. He invents a distraction to steal a paper describing the superweapon Aristotle has obtained, a giant drill that will be used to destroy the whole electrical infrastructure of Europe. Assuming Bryce is dead, Kincaid and Sonia throw him into the ocean. Soon after, he comes to and admits he was wearing Kevlar. The three grab the briefcase and track down Aristotle in Italy, just as he's appearing in public, while Kincaid notices Aristotle as his own hitman. Zento, who has stolen some of Kincaid's business, Bryce identifies Magnuson as a high-ranking bodyguard. Bryce laments that the buckshot caused his rib to break, so Sonia gives him what she claims are painkillers. Magnuson detects the group and signals to Zento to fire. Magnuson and other gunmen follow the group as they flee the area. Because the medication Sonia gave him were actually lithium, Bryce then starts to feel dizzy. While Bryce is being thrown around in a rare and knocking thing around, Kincaid and Sonia serve maniacally through the streets until they are able to take out the gunman. Bryce snaps at Kincaid and Sonia after escaping the bad guys since they put him in such a pickle. He even insults Sonia by referring to her as insane and saying that she wouldn't make a good mother. The signs that Bryce receives after asking around for one appear to persuade him to travel to Tuscany. The group travels there to meet Bryce Sr., his stepfather, who taught Bruce everything he knows about bodyguarding and is also an excellent bodyguard. Kincaid is taken aback that Bryce's father is black. Sr. invites the group to a supper, but when he brings out the Galetto, everything goes wrong. Sr. tells Kincaid and Sonia what happened to Bryce's mother, who he was close to as a child. When he went to get a Galetto at a fair, and an absent man fell from a ride and crashed into her, sending her flying into a greasy death and hitting another ride, leaving Bryce to blame himself for what happened. This is after Bryce leaves feeling upset. Sonia approaches Bryce and assumes that his resentment of her and Kincaid was as a result of his parents, and she extends her forgiveness. Senior then lets Bryce take his car to complete their mission. The three depart in their car for a secure area, but regrettably, Aristotle's henchmen tranquilize and capture them. When he confronts them, it comes out that he had a history with Sonia. In reality, he was simply another victim of a fraud. Sonia was allegedly his sweetheart before she fell off his yacht and became anesthetic. While getting to know Sonia again and promising to give her a family, Aristotle sent Bryce and Kincaid away to be tortured. The super weapons activation gadget is likewise taken out of the briefcase, and Sonia's bracelet is taken off her wrist. Then, according to Aristotle, he understands why Kincaid was actually absent during their honeymoon. He was visiting a fertility clinic because Sonia is ostensibly infertile. Bryce is able to create a distraction while Kincaid and Bryce are being interrogated, allowing them to escape and kill the tormentors. Bryce and Kincaid attempt to capture Sonia after murdering more henchmen, but she appears to turn against them and declare that their relationship is ended.
Goodbye, Darius. It's over.
The two split off as they run from the assailants. When Bryce goes back to his father's house to ask for assistance, he discovers that Senior is Aristotle's personal bodyguard. Bryce is chastised by Senior and called a blight on his legacy. Bryce wrecks his dad's scar in retribution. It starts as a bar fight and then goes to a bar where Kincaid is drinking. Next, the bartender picks up the phone and informs Kincaid that Sonia is phoning after some way locating him. She lets him know that Aristotle has dispatched a kill squad to find them. Then gunmen open fire on the pub, forcing Bryce and Kincaid to leave again in their car. In the process of killing additional thugs and avoiding them, they smash their automobile, with Bryce being thrown into the river by other criminals that Kincaid kills. The next morning, Kincaid rescues Bryce and motivates him to take part in the decisive battle to save Sonia. Then Kincaid tells Bryce that the reason he and Sonia are having difficulties becoming pregnant is because Bryce, who was previously Kincaid's bodyguard, shot him in the balls on a mission some time ago. Later, Interpol locates them. They persuade 2 operatives to accompany them in their mission after speaking with Crowley. Since senior security team has them under surveillance, Bryce and Kincaid use the Interpol agent as a ruse. The two continue to take out bad guys until they reach the boat that is positioned above the underwater location where Aristotle intends to detonate the drill and destroy the European power grid. Aristotle learns that Bryce and Kincaid are nearby, so he sends Murchison after Bryce and Zento after Kincaid. Bryce engages in a long fight with Murchison before smashing his head inside a jukebox, while Kincaid kills Zento with a ricochet bullet. Aristotle leaves Sonia to be killed by Veronica while he fights Kincaid, and Senior comes to fight Bryce. Sonia kills Veronica before joining her husband, and they reconcile. They shoot Aristotle dead together while Bryce sticks a pocket knife in Senior's neck. It shows that he is impressed in Bryce, but then lets him know that the device is almost done doing its job. The ship is set up to blow if the countdown is halted, allowing him to destroy it if he so chooses. Before the boat is destroyed, Bryce, Kincaid and Sonia all jump off it using the manual override switch that he finds. The trio are picked up by Interpol, with O'Neill thanking them for their work even though he still thinks they are all idiots. He then hands Bryce some paper to sign, making him think that he's getting his bodyguard license reinstated. Sonia then takes the paper and reveals that those were adoption papers, and Bryce is now her and Kincaid's son. Cue a big what from Bryce and Kincaid. You've made it this far. In appreciation, please like, subscribe, watch other recaps, and share with your loved ones.